Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Deaconess Elizabeth, and it is Friday, April the 21st, and I'm here again for your daily devotions. Today, our devotions come from Luke chapter 6, starting at the first verse, so if you'd like to follow along, you may turn there now. One Sabbath, Jesus was going through the grain fields, and his disciples began to pick some heads of grain, rub them in their hands, and eat the kernels. Some of the Pharisees asked, "Why are you doing what is unlawful on the Sabbath?" Jesus answered them, "Have you never read what David did when he and his companions were hungry? He entered the house of God, and taking the consecrated bread, he ate what is lawful only for priests to eat, and he also gave some to his companions. Then Jesus said to them, 'The Son of Man is Lord of the Sabbath.' On another Sabbath, he went into the synagogue and was teaching, and a man was there whose right hand was shriveled. The Pharisees and the teachers of the law were looking for a reason to accuse Jesus, so they watched him closely to see if he would heal on the Sabbath. But Jesus knew what they were thinking and said to the man with the shriveled hand, 'Get up and stand in front of everyone.' So he got up and stood there. Then Jesus said to them, 'I ask you, which is lawful on the Sabbath, to do good or to do evil, to save life or to destroy it?' He looked around at them all and said to the man, 'Stretch out your hand.' He did so, and his hand was completely restored. But they were furious and began to discuss with one another what they might do to Jesus. One of those days, Jesus went out to a mountainside to pray and spent the night praying to God. When morning came, he called his disciples to him, and he chose 12 of them, whom he also designated apostles: Simon, whom he called Peter, his brother Andrew, James, John, Philip, Bartholomew, Matthew, Thomas, James son of Alphaeus, Simon who was called the Zealot, Judas son of James, and Judas Iscariot who became a traitor. He went down with them and stood on a level place. A large crowd of his disciples was there, and a great number of people from all over Judea came from Jerusalem and from the coast of Tyre and Sidon, who had come to hear him and to be healed of their diseases. Those troubled by evil spirits were cured, and the people all tried to touch him because power was coming from him and healing them all. Okay, so that is our reading for today. We have here two accounts in our passage at the very beginning. Two accounts of Jesus showing that he is Lord of the Sabbath. So the first one starts with the disciples picking heads of grain on the Sabbath. So as they are picking the heads of the grain, they are doing what is considered work. And the Pharisees do not like that. And there are multiple accounts in the Gospels that speak of the Pharisees trying to, or watching Jesus and his disciples and making sure that they're not working on the Sabbath. And here we hear of the Pharisees catching them doing some work. And then Jesus gives them the example of when King David, when he and his companions were hungry, he went and he ate the consecrated bread. And then Jesus goes ahead and tells the Pharisees, he said, that the Son of Man is Lord of the Sabbath. So, and then they have another account here where the Pharisees are watching Jesus closely to see if he's going to heal on the Sabbath because he's done it before. And Jesus sees this man with the withered hand, the shriveled hand, and he tells this man to stand up in front of everybody, and he tells him to stretch out his shriveled hand, and his hand was healed. And here we hear in verse 11 that the Pharisees were furious that Jesus had yet again healed, and they were working on a way or something to do to Jesus. And of course, we find out later that they're plotting to get rid of him, to kill him. And then we have this short little passage about a couple of verses with Jesus calling his disciples to him and picking 12 of them to be his apostles, those who learned very closely with him. And then our passage sets us up for the Beatitudes for tomorrow's devotion. And we see a large crowd that is following Jesus after seeing and hearing of his healing of others. And they want to hear him and to be healed of their diseases as well. So they're following Jesus to see if he would do that for them as well. So again, that is our reading for today. And our hymn is going to be hymn 648, "Glorious Things of You Are Spoken." And we're going to sing the first verse. Glorious things of you are has spoken, Zion, city of our God. He whose word cannot be broken, formed you for his own abode, on the rock of ages founded. What can shake your sure repose? With salvation's walls surrounded, you may smile at all your foes. And we'll conclude with the Lord's Prayer. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever and ever. Amen. Well, thank you for joining me for today's daily devotion. A few announcements for this upcoming week and for a few other events here in the future. Tomorrow is our marriage enrichment class for the younger couples in our congregation, for those of you in your 20s, 30s, 40s. That is happening tomorrow starting at 9:30. We've got some games, we've got some food, and a good lesson and Bible lesson to take away from all of it. So if you have not signed up yet or are interested or have questions about it, please feel free to reach out to Pastor, and he can answer those questions for you. Also, this coming Wednesday, we will have youth night at our normal time at 6 o'clock, and we will resume choir practice at 7:30 after our youth night. And Tuesday, on the 25th of April, we have a VBS planning meeting. So if you would like to be involved in the planning of our Vacation Bible School this summer, the meeting is Tuesday night at 7 p.m. If you would like to volunteer and have not yet registered to do so, please do that. The link is in our email newsletter. It's also now available on our public Facebook page. Please sign your kids up through this. That way we have an idea of how many kids are planning on attending. And again, our VBS is scheduled to take place June 12th through the 15th, and that will be from 9 to 11:30 in the morning. So please consider volunteering, as we usually have a pretty good turnout for our Vacation Bible School, and encourage those around you to register their kids for that, as well as our VBS is free to everyone who wishes to participate. Those are the announcements that I have for today, so I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your Friday.